love it.
Hi, Di Campbell.
Hello. I love this, and I love that segment. Don't ever take that music away,
No,
Lizzie. It's
no.
so good. It's so good.
So I think this might be the first time we've had our book club on Sanctuary, I feel.
First or second time, I don't know.
Oh, well, let's not.
Yeah.
We've been doing this for a few years,
We
so
have.
we love it. And you're a great influencer on me to read more, Di, because you're such a committed reader. So as we do, let's start with you. What have you got for us today?
Okay, so I've got two books today. This first one is an autobiography by the Pope, Pope Francis. It's called Hope. Now, originally it was intended to appear after his death, but actually it's so good and it's such a book for this time that they've actually released the book now.
So when you say autobiography, has he written it? Was he got a ghostwriter, so to speak?
Well, he's written it.
He's put his name on it.
Yeah. Look, I don't know because English isn't his first language, so
okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's an autobiography, so it's written by him. I'm guessing. But yeah, so it's a really fascinating insight into the Pope and his passions, and actually, he weaves his story with some of the things that are going on right now. So he actually starts the book with the story of the SS Matilda. Have you ever heard of this?
Can't say I have.
Okay, so this is known as the Italian Titanic.
Oh, wow.
So this is a ship that sunk, and as it was sinking, the captain got the orchestra to play, and look, some people survived, but many didn't. And this was a ship that his family were destined to go on from Italy to Argentina to immigrate. For a couple of different reasons, they didn't make it. And thank goodness they didn't make it, because we may not have had Pope Francis as a result of that. So it starts there. And the reason why he starts with this ship is he's talking about refugees. People were actually fleeing Europe because of the wars, because of depression, and they were going into different parts of the world. And not too different from today, these refugees were hoping for a better future. Their lives had been torn apart by war and poverty, and they just simply wanted a better life. So he kind of roots it there because he has a real heart for refugees. And he's like, put yourself in that position, mothers and children and families that just simply, they need hope. They don't want to stay in a situation where it's dangerous for them, where it's awful. They want to go somewhere where there is a good place to live. And for his family, that was Argentina. So, yeah, that's where it starts.
You sound really into this book.
I love it.
I can feel the emotion. You've been very moved by it, haven't you?
Absolutely, because war is something that is happening all around us at the moment. And as a result, families are being torn apart, and it's hugely destructive. And, it's easy from a distance to kind of look at the political and all of that, but actually just look at what it's doing to families. Mm-hmm. Look at what it's doing to the children. It's really, really, it's heartbreaking, right?
Yeah.
So he is clearly very moved with what's going on. So, yes, this is an autobiography, but it's also something to say, hey, look, pray for these parts of the world. Be an agent of change, be an agent of peace. And I thought I'd read you a little bit of it, if that's
Please
okay.
Do.
I say a little bit, but it actually seems like a really long paragraph now. But let's see how we go. The human heart is also the first step along every path of reconciliation. Someone might say, Lord, God, I don't know how to speak. I'm too young. And he references Jeremiah here. I don't know how peace is made. I have had no schooling. I'm not an educated person. I'm not a head of state. I'm still a child, or I'm too old. And then he goes on to say, there again, the world is too big, too complicated, too far away. But your home, your neighbourhood, your place or work or your school is not too far away, because bullying and abuse of power are also seeds of aggression and war. Your brothers and your sister are never too far away from Jesus himself, and tells us in the gospel how we must act. Let us be like children. Let us be humble. Let us be the servants of others. Let us cultivate generosity, kindness and humility. They are simple acts, the small things pointed out by Paul to an early Christian community at Ephesus. So he points out that this is a way to build peace and strengthen unity just by those small, simple acts. And I was really inspired by that, because I don't know about you, Lizzie, but this is overwhelming sometimes when you look at the news.
Yeah.
And sort of to bring it back into, well, what can I do? I'm not a pope.
No.
I don't have a lot of influence, but I can still be an agent for peace. So, yeah, really love this book.
You do.
Check it out. It's
Pope
called
Francis, Hope. Awesome.
Francis.
Tell us quickly about your second book there.
Okay, so the second book is called The Courage of Women by Rob Harley. Now,
Oh,
Rob,
I know this book.
You know this book. You know Rob. He
I do
actually
know
came
Rob.
to our church recently and talked about
did he?
storytelling. And that's where I got the book because I was like, I want to read more.
Oh,
So the
awesome.
great thing about this book is there's many different stories in it. You can dip in and out of it because every chapter is a new story. And it's a story of inspiration, I guess you can say, of very, very courageous women.
Yeah, and I mean, for some people they'll know Rob, but plenty won't. I mean, back in the day, he was a TVNZ journalist. He worked on Sunday. He's made lots of documentaries. He's been a pastor. He was my pastor at one stage.
Really?
Yes, so
Wow.
I've known him for about over 30 years.
Yeah, such an inspiring guy.
But some of the stories in there, I mean, there's one that I had read about the beginning of Shakti, which is the organisation that provides support to Asian immigrants in domestic violence situations. And it's just, this is the beginning of how that organisation started. And I mean, some of it's pretty hard hitting, isn't it, in the book?
It really is. We're talking about courageous women. They're often in situations which are not very nice, or they're helping out or people who are in situations that are very difficult. So, yeah, I would say if you're the type of reader that wants to dip in and out of many different stories and you want to be inspired, you want to have hope, this is a great book. I mean, I devoured it. It's called The Courage of Women and it's by Rob Harley.
Great. I was talking on the radio recently, Di, about the names of God and saying how little I knew about the names of God. And so I decided to do something about it.
Wow, okay.
I actually went to the library, got a book. It's quite an old book. It's by a chap. He's since passed away. He was an American pastor and author and many other things, Lester Sumrall. And I think this book was written back in the 80s, which sounds so long ago now. And so, yes, it is a book that explores the various names of God, highlighting their significance. And look, it's whet my appetite.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, he's not alive, so I can't offend him. I might offend somebody else. He's a little bit old-fashioned in the way he writes, and I find him a bit judgy, to be honest. But if I push past that, the stuff that I want to know about the names of God, I absolutely love it.
Wow.
And I think God has all these names, Jehovah Jireh and various other names, and they show us who he is. Adonai, Lord, Master, Jehovah Shalom, the Lord our peace, and I'm like, this has just whet my appetite because, I'm reminded of that scripture that talks about I see in part, I see through a glass darkly, and then, and I feel like this starting on this journey that I'm on with this book is starting to do that for me.
That's so cool.
What really blew my mind, I was just reading it last night. You would have been so proud of me. I wasn't watching TV. I was lying on the sofa reading. I'm like, loving it. Take a photo. It talks in the beginning of the Bible, in the first chapter, God told Moses that he is I am. And in the Hebrew, apparently this name for himself, there is no other name like it in all of ancient Hebrew literature. And scribes when this was written back in the 80s, people were still puzzled by it so those that were writing the manuscripts, they only put the consonants, which is YHWH, because it was too holy to even write God's whole name. And this is the name that God actually gave himself when he was talking with Moses. And so in time, the vows have been entered to Yahweh, Jehovah. But just in the beginning, that people were just like, I can't even write this. I've got no term of reference for it. And I think for us in English language and Western society, unless we study this stuff, we don't know it. And I'm not planning on going to Bible school or anything like that. Who knows? But just even this book in itself has just whet my appetite, and I'm like, I just feel like almost like a kid in a lolly shop going,
that sounds so good.
Ooh, there's something to explore here.
Yeah.
There's something more to know. So a bit like you, I'm quite captivated. Now, I got this from the library. I don't even know if it's in shops anymore. The Names of God, Lester Sumrall. I think it's a good starting place. There's probably other books about names of God, but that's the one that I've got my hands on. And just quickly, in closing, because I do love a good kiddies book.
This is so cute.
So I've got a book today called Giraffe the Gardener. It's actually by Kimberly Andrews. She's quite interesting. She is a trained biologist and geologist. She grew up in the Canadian Rockies and has worked and lived in New Zealand, Borneo in the UK.
Wow.
And there's such depth to this picture book that you know that the person behind it knows a bunch of stuff. So it's a story about a giraffe. He's a gardener, and then he's gardening with his daughter. She's a giraffe too, funny that. And they go into all different parts of these gardens and meet different animals like kakapo. It's not just New Zealand animals, panda, elephant, otter, cow, tortoise. And what ends up happening is the giraffe actually injures its neck and he can't do everything anymore, and everybody has to sort of pull together. But it's fun. It's got like a gnome that's hidden in the pictures that you have to find. And you go into these different parts of gardens and there's a recipe for out of flower cordial, like actual. Yeah. So I feel like there's a picture of a kingfisher. It's my favourite bird. So I feel it's for children, but I feel like for parents or grandparents who are really into gardening as well or want to know more about gardening, it's just sort of quite inspiring.
It's a very beautiful book.
Yeah, and there's just the illustrations. There's so much going on. There's a lot to look at. So I think I might give it away.
Oh, are you sure you want to?
Well, let's think about it.
Okay, there you go.
You better stay listening to see if I give it away today. I might give it away tomorrow. So those are our books today. So good to have your company, Di. Just give us a quick recap of yours.
Okay, I'll try not to spend 10 minutes talking about them again. We've got Hope by Pope Francis and The Courage of Women by Rob Harley.
Awesome. And I have got The Names of God by Lester Sumrall and Giraffe the Gardener that's just been published, just come out. This is a brand new copy from Kimberly Andrews. Di, thanks so much for joining me today on Lizzie's Book Club. And
it was a pleasure.
Look forward to seeing you next time, my friend.